You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, today, Donald Trump held this big old rally with these white conservative evangelicals in Florida after Christianity Today wrote a scathing editorial saying it's time for him to get bounced because he's morally bankrupt. Now, he chose to have this rally there, and they were there praying for Donald Trump and all that sort of stuff along those lines. And you had folks like Tony Perkins, who's big-time white conservative evangelical, who's out there tweeting as well. And so he tweeted something that I, of course, took offense to, and I had to respond to him when he did. And so this is his tweet right here. Great turnout in Miami for the Evangelicals for Trump coalition launch. His strong record on life and religious liberty makes him a clear choice for evangelicals in 2020. Now, let me be real clear. He's not a clear choice for evangelicals in 2020. He's a clear choice for white conservative evangelicals in 2020. See, there's a difference. Because the reality is black evangelicals are not supporting Donald Trump. See, part of the problem with these white evangelicals that they have basically hijacked the name evangelical. They've even caused national media that when they have a discussion about evangelicals, they automatically go to these white conservative evangelicals, as if black folks and Latinos who are evangelical or Asians are not included in this same conversation. That, to me, is one of the fundamental problems that we have here. What's also interesting, just so y'all know, that these same white conservative evangelicals, they don't want to actually have a conversation with black folks, Latinos, and other white folks who are not in their same camp. Let me help you all out. When Reverend Dr. William Barber and the Poor People's Campaign went to Liberty, Virginia, where Liberty University is, founded by Reverend Jerry Falwell, now run by his son, Jerry Falwell Jr., who's an attorney, not a pastor. Jerry Falwell Jr. sent a letter out saying that if any person, if any individual with the Poor People's Campaign stepped foot on the campus of Liberty University, they were to be arrested. He ordered every student that no student or faculty at the university should even attend this event led by the Poor People's Campaign. What does that tell you about how these white conservative evangelicals think? Not only that, Reverend Barber, Reverend Jim Wallace, and others who call themselves progressive Christians have offered to debate these white conservative evangelicals. Folks like Jerry Falwell Jr. and Tony Perkins and Ralph Reed and Robert Jeffers and others. They've declined. What does that tell you, Mustafa, when you see what's going on here? Trump's hardcore base are these white conservative evangelicals who only care about two things: same-sex marriage and abortion. They don't give a damn about anything else. Those are the two most important things they care about, and that's why they also want these hardcore right-wing judges on the federal bench. As Franklin Graham said, they will be actually ruling on policy when I'm no longer here.
Yeah, it's interesting. We look back at Scripture, and Judas sold out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. If you think about that in today's times, how people are literally selling themselves out for a Supreme Court judgeship, or selling themselves out so that there can be these inhuman immigration policies, or even if you want to have the conversation around abortion rights and those types of things. That's the reason that folks don't want to actually have a real conversation, a debatable conversation, one, on Scripture, but two, on, if you say that you're a follower of Jesus, what the reflection of that should actually look like and should be. And, you know, that's the reason folks don't want to deal with Reverend Barber, because they know, one, he understands the book, but he also understands what humanity is actually supposed to look like.
Julian, here's what's interesting. Go to my iPad, please. Poverty grew in almost half of Pennsylvania counties despite strong national economy. You will not hear these white conservative evangelicals talking about this here. They don't want anything to do with the Poor People's Campaign. They will stand there and talk about, oh, how they love Jesus, but they love that Trump tax cut. They love deregulation, but you will not hear him. And what did Jesus talk more about in the Bible than anything else? Money, the poor. These folks don't give a damn about the poor.
Who do black evangelicals follow?
Black evangelicals actually, I believe, broaden the notion of what it means to be a person of faith. I think black evangelicals do not define the faith based upon who's gay and who's pro-choice or who's pro-life. I think black evangelicals look at how do you care for the poor? Look at how do you treat your brethren? I'll give you an example. Pastor Maurice Watson, when he was in Omaha, Nebraska, a group of white conservative evangelicals came to him, loved his pro-life stance. He's now a preacher here at Metropolitan in D.C. Came to him and said, we want you to participate with us in our pro-life march. He said, sure, not a problem. But I need y'all to do something for me. They said, what? He said, I need you to march with me against these crack houses in our neighborhoods. You know what the white preachers in Omaha, Nebraska said? Oh, no. That's your problem. See, that right there, I think, defines the difference between black evangelicals and white conservative evangelicals.
I think religion has its place in politics, but I don't agree with it when you use it, when you pick and choose how you use it. I think if you're going to be fair and reasonable across the board for everybody, just be fair and reasonable across the board for everybody. So I don't like when people pick certain verses out of the Bible and use it against you to make you feel bad, but at the same time, they don't adhere to those same principles. So I think, it should be fair and reasonable across the board, because I've seen black pastors that don't want to support gay marriage, and they have that right to do so. And I asked them, I'm like, okay, where do you stand on certain issues? We can't just overlook that. And the same goes for, the white evangelicals. You can't say, hey, we support this and not support that.
See, these white evangelicals, these white conservative evangelicals, what they want far right-wing judges on the federal bench, Dr. Carter. Mm-hmm. And we've already seen the whole deal here. Many of these folks, they are against civil rights.
Yep.
They support voter suppression. They rule for big business and against folk. And so what these evangelicals are doing, these white conservative evangelicals, and yes, it's a sprinkle of black, it's a sprinkle of Latino, and what they're doing on the Latino side, the reason they get more Latinos who are evangelicals is because of the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. Because the Catholic Church is opposed to abortion. The Catholic Church is also opposed to the death penalty. Mm-hmm. Not these folks.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I think the thing about white evangelicals, and they can wrap themselves in the cloak of Christianity if they want to, their ideology is white supremacy. What they really want is to preserve the lives of white children, right? This is why they get their cockles up about abortion, and they get their cockles up about gay marriage. I mean, they can use black faces for billboards. I remember they were doing that a few years ago, saying the most dangerous place for a black child is in the womb, or some nonsense like that.
They're still doing it.
Right, to bring in black folks. But let's be clear. These people don't want to do anything to sustain life beyond being born, right? They are not about anti-poverty. They're not about clean environment, right? Clean water. They don't care about any of those things. They certainly don't care about the unfair application of the death penalty to black and brown folks who are more likely to die, right, by those means. So they don't care about life per se, right? What they care about is making sure that they can extend their lives and their beliefs beyond their time. And let's be clear, most people don't believe what they believe in, right? But they found someone who can say, I care about pro-life, and I care about, a heterosexually defined marriage, and that to them is the litmus test. All of the other things that come with sustaining life, they don't care about. So I always say, when these people say they're Christian, I say, well, the God they serve is a white, blue-eyed Jesus, right? It's not a God of all of us. In their minds, this world and the world that they want to leave behind is going to be the world that best produces white people and white children. And they are clear, I think, to me, from what they've said and in their deeds, right? That is what their main interest is. It's not about love. It's not about a more robust life, right? So that we can all live it abundantly. They don't care about those things.
In fact, Mustafa, I remember this vividly because I remember talking about this when I was on CNN. And so Bob Riley was the governor of Alabama, Republican, white, conservative, evangelical. He said that this was back in 2003 or 4. He said that the tax code, actually 2006 or 7, the tax code in Alabama was grossly unfair to the poor. So in Alabama, they started taxing people beginning at $4,600. One of the lowest thresholds of any state in the country. He said this makes no sense. If you're making $4,600, he said you can't afford to be paying taxes. So he had this $1.2 billion tax package that was going to raise taxes on the wealthy and businesses and was going to cut taxes for poor families. What's interesting is that Chamber of Commerce supported the governor's proposal. In fact, what he also did was he used the Bible and what would Jesus do as a campaign theme. This person was interviewed. He said, I just don't think you can find a justification in the New Testament for taxing a family that makes $4,600 a year. He went all around the state proselytizing. What would Jesus do? It lost 65% at the ballot box. And those white evangelicals in Alabama, guess what? They voted with their pocketbooks against the poor and against this proposal. And that's what I keep trying to explain to people. Their faith is a buffet line. I'm going to take one of those, and I'm going to leave the rest. That's why I call them hypocrites, and that's why I call them out.
In the Bible Belt, making those types of decisions, it doesn't matter. It's not even in the Bible Belt. Far too many folks place the dollar over their spirituality, and it's very clear to see. And, we all going to have to answer for the decisions that we made and the actions that we made in one day.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, as the marijuana momentum continues, the folks at marijuanastock.org have already reached more than half of their funding goal for the hemp CBD investment. That's right. If you want to take advantage of this great opportunity, you need to do it now because it won't last much longer. Now, if you don't know, I'm talking about the hemp plant, the good cousin of marijuana, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Also, if you don't know, hemp farming is now legal in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. Now, it's an opportunity for you to invest, and that's where 420 Real Estate comes in. Their business model is very simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. They're hemp CBD landlords. You can get in on the action. Now, of course, what they're doing is allowing you to invest a minimum of $200 up to $10,000 in their crowdfunding campaign. That's right, $200 up to $10,000. Now, to invest, all you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. It's marijuanastock.org, and then you'll see all the details. So you want to get in the game? And get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.